Hey guys, welcome to another video. I am back today with something that I'm actually really excited to film. I am going to be doing the full face of E.L.F. asterisk products. So I ordered some stuff off of E.L.F. and I was really excited. I think I spent $37 and got most of the stuff that I'm going to use here today. There are a few things that I already had. I put the asterisk after mostly E.L.F. just because I don't have enough E.L.F. to do every single piece of my makeup, but I have most of everything covered, and the other things I will be using drugstore brands. So it's going to be a pretty cheap, inexpensive look, but overall most of it will be E.L.F. and a lot of this is stuff I've never even tried before. So if you want to see me do a first impressions on a whole bunch of new E.L.F. makeup, then let's go. I already did brows off camera. I used my Mellow brow definer. That's the only product that I'm not 100% sure if it's drugstore or not. But then I did already use the Ulta matte eye primer and finishing powder, both on my eyes to set them down. Those are products that I use all the time. The first impression we are going to try out is this bite-sized eyeshadow in Hot Jalapeno. This is a cute little quad. It's got a gorgeous gold and then more of like a greeny gold, and it's got two mattes here, a nice deep olive green, and then this is still kind of green. It's like a black green I guess. So we are going to use this solely on my eyes, but before we do that we are going to use the E.L.F. strips that I use all the time because I don't have any eyeliners. So I'm going to try to use that black-ish shade in the palette to do liner. So we're going to go in with this top really dark shade first. In the crease, trying to keep it as in the crease as possible. And then we're going to flick it up just a tad. Alright, so then to blend over the top of that, we're going to go in with this lighter green matte shade. And there's surprisingly not a whole lot of fallout in this pan here at all. So I'm going to go in with my finger in this more limey green and just go on the lid. Alright, and then with the gold, I'm just going to touch that on the inner corner. Alright, the last thing we're going to do is just go in with a really thin lining brush into that deep shade and just line the bottom. Alright, so there are the eyes done. Let's remove this and see the damage. Oh! Alright, look at... that is a pretty darn decent line there. Alright, so continuing right along, we are going to use the E.L.F. Glow Up Primer Serum and the Poreless Putty Primer. These are two E.L.F. products I've been using for a while and I do really like them. Okay, so today for face, we are going to be trying out, Jaclyn Hill just posted a video of her quick go-to makeup routine, which did not include a bright green eye, but it was a really soft, dewy face, and I really liked that. So we're gonna try that. We bought 3 different E.L.F. concealers. These 2 are the 16-hour camos, if I can get them to turn. And then this is the new Hydrating camo. Yeah. So I'm going to use the Hydrating under my eyes because that's where I tend to get a little bit more dry. And then we've got 2 different shades here. I think I'm closer to this shade right now, so I'm going to go and use this one all over the face. On top of that, we are going to be using the E.L.F. Cream Blush Palette. This is another new product that I got that is super cool. I've never used a cream blush before, so really excited about that. And then finally, not finally actually, then we're going to use the Cream Contour Palette. Also never really used cream contour, I've only used concealer before. And then finally we have the E.L.F. Total Face Sponge, and it's very soft. It's a lot softer than I was expecting it to be, so we'll see how this works. I got it in a little duo, so I have 2 here, so I do have a dry one if this one isn't working. It says you can use it wet or dry. Granted, everybody does, you know, kind of whatever they want to do, but we do have a little brush to throw on the cream concealer with, or the cream contour with, and then a brush for the blush. So let's get started. I am actually pretty impressed by how quickly that all blended out. I'm gonna go in with a bit of a deeper contour shade. Just because I feel like the contour shade that I was using was a little bit too warm tone. And then a touch more of this pinky peachy blush. Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed. I'm gonna dip my finger into this lighter shade here, just to go straight down the middle of the nose with. And honestly, with that, we're almost done. Because I had brought out blush and bronzer from E.L.F., but I don't think I need it. Obviously, we'll judge a little bit more here in just a minute, but I did get a sample of the E.L.F. translucent powder. This is in the shade Sheer. And we're just gonna go in with our sponge. It's still pretty damp. The sponge texture is crazy because it's like super soft. But if you look, it doesn't look like it absorbed much of the product that I was using. So that's crazy. I think the main place is gonna be under my eyes, and I'm gonna wanna set the rest of it. It seems to have dried down pretty well, so. And then just very softly put just a tad on the end of your sponge and blend. With that, we're gonna finish up the face we're going to go in with eyeshadow again on the lower lash line. We're going to, we're going to take the really dark shade and go more like a liner. And then go in with our green, just a touch of it, the lighter green matte, and just blur it out. So we are almost done. We're gonna go in with the E.L.F. Hydrating Coconut Mist. I like this so much that I have that much left, so gotta make sure we're spraying correctly. So we're going to spray all over to keep everything nice and dewy. While the face is still just a little bit dewy from the spray, I'm gonna go in with the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder and just give a nice soft, I say soft and then I do that. Give a nice soft, very subtle, blinding glow. And then because we don't have a highlighting shade in the small palette or small quad, I'm just gonna go in with the same highlighter, just a touch, not to overdo anything. And then last but not least, once again, not E.L.F, but I couldn't decide between two mascaras. So I have the Pixie by Petra Lash Lift 188, which is kind of cool. I don't know if, I think I showed this on a BoxyCharm unboxing. It has 2 wands, so it's kind of cool. Really good for those bottom lashes. And then this is the collab The Works Wow Effect All-in-One mascara. So I think I'll start with this guy because it's a little bit more wet, I guess. Alright, and to finish us off, we will go on with the Collab Beauty mascara. Alright, so here's the final look. I think that, well, I'll give all my final thoughts with everything individually. So starting with the eyeshadow palette, I think the eyeshadow was super cute. I was able to create a really cute eye look out of it, and that gold and green, it's seriously my favorite combo. So the second I saw these quads, I knew I had to get this one because hands down my favorite. Golds, greens, and yellows all together. Anyways, next up we have the concealers. I am not going to dock any points for color choices. I think it looks a little bit more orange off of camera than it does on camera, but I do think that the contour palette had a little bit to do with the oranginess, just because that first shade that I used was a little bit more of like a more like a bronzer shade, even though in the pan it looks like it would be more cool tone. This one ended up being a lot better of a choice for me. So this overall 10 out of 10, I do like it. I just kind of should have swatched the shades a little bit before going into it. But the concealers I really like. The hydrating one under my eye feels amazing. It feels weightless, but I still, if you can tell, like it still blurred everything out. It looks great. And then everything else all over the skin, like it feels same. It feels weightless. It feels not necessarily drying, but it feels dry. It's not sticky or anything like that. The powder obviously helped with that, so that was good as well. It is just a little sample size, but it was a very like finely milled powder, and it doesn't really seem to have much like flashback or anything, just from the bright beauty lights I have. The sponge was surprisingly good with how soft it was. I assumed it would absorb a lot more product than that, but it seemed to do really good. And I mean, it's a really dark color, so you'd think it'd show up more on there, but seemed to do pretty well. The blush I think was really cute. I was actually surprised by how well it showed up, especially with me using the two lighter shades in the bunch. This orangey one looks so cute. I think it's definitely my favorite out of the two that I tried. I think that was everything that I got. I already knew that I liked all the stuff that I currently own. So the Glow Up Primer Serum, I'm obsessed with this stuff. It's so hydrating and it's not super like oily. Like when you put it on, it feels oily, but it dries in so well that it's not like super slippery or anything. So like your foundations or concealers or whatever will sit right on top of this with no problem. If you have dry skin, I would definitely recommend this. The Poreless Putty Primer, I know this is a really big one that's gone around, but I mean, look, you can't see any of my pores on my face, so obviously this one is a 10 out of 10 as well. The eye strips themselves I really do like, especially if you're trying to go for more of like a wing. They help get that really sharp line, and especially if you're going for more of a dramatic look. These are the Primer Infused Blush and Bronzer. I didn't actually use these today, but I've used these more than once and I love these so much. They stay on my face all throughout the day. The primer obviously helps with that, so definitely like that. And then the Hydrating Coconut Mist. If it being empty doesn't tell you anything, I'm obsessed with this. I got the coconut one and I used all of it. It was amazing. It smelled like coconut. I'm gonna have to get more of it, so that'll go in my empty pile. Really quick, the stuff that was not E.L.F. that I used, again, the eye primer and the finishing powder from Ulta Beauty. I really like these. They work really well for me on my eyes and then setting it down to do eyeshadow. The two mascaras that I used, again, this one's a little bit more liquidy, so you just have to be really careful about it, and they're both silicone brushes, so depending on how you feel about those, silicone, rubber, one of those, I don't necessarily know what it's made of, but that is those two. Wet n Wild obviously brings it with the highlight. I guess it's super cute, 10 out of 10 Wet n Wild highlights. I do really want to try the E.L.F. highlight. I saw a couple of them on their website when I was shopping, so I'm gonna have to go check that out. Alright, so that is everything that I have today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my first impressions, all E.L.F., mostly E.L.F. makeup. If you really like this, let me know down below in the comments section. Give it a thumbs up. Let me know down below also if you want me to do a full face of something else like Wet n Wild or Physicians Formula or anything along those lines. Let me know what you want me to try down below. Subscribe, ring the bell, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!